Welcome to She Moves Bravely, a podcast dedicated to empowering women through stories of resilience, courage, and success. I'm your host, Shantae Dent. Today, I have the honor of introducing you to a woman who moves bravely. Her name is Frenchaire Gardner. Frenchaire, welcome to the show.
Shantae, thank you so much for having me on the show. I'm really glad to be able to speak with you today.
Yes. I'm intrigued because as we briefly discussed, there's a tiny overlap in our stories. But what I've come to find is that even with any type of overlap in our stories and our journey, there's a vast difference in all the details and all the twists and all the turns. And I love to connect with people who have different perspectives, different experiences. And with that being said, Frenchaire, I'm going to pass the baton to you and would love for you to start by sharing with our audience, who you are. What's your story? What have you overcome?
Thank you again for having me on your podcast. It means a lot to me. My name is Frenchaire Gardner. I was born and raised here in Dallas, Texas, and I spent about 8 to 10 years in St. Louis, Missouri, cultivating community and my entrepreneurship journey. And then around the spring of 2019, I decided to sell everything, my property, everything I owned, to go to China for a year to teach English. And so I was slated to go teach English for a year in September of 2019. So I hadn't really spent much time with family and friends in Dallas, Texas. So I came back home around that summer, June 2019. So I, kicked it with family, friends, just, it was like a home going, like, I see y'all later,
Yeah,
alligator,
yeah.
you know. But it came to find out that my mom really had been putting on airs with me and letting on, and she was actually really ill. And so I needed to, as her only living daughter, rest in peace to my sister, Sean Anderson. Um, I had to step in and take care of her, really. So I ended up not going to China, and I've been now back home in Dallas, Texas, taking care of my mama for the last 5 years. And so to back up, to give you more context about who I am, I was molested by my father as a little girl. And actually, he just recently passed on the 2nd of February, and we're in the process of burying him. He's, the service is going to be pretty next weekend, basically. But I say all that to say, I was promiscuous, and I went through a time of shame, and I went through a time of just great. Well, I still have a time with relationships with men. It's a trust factor. I've just been through too much with men. And so anyway, I essentially, you know, once I got settled back here in Dallas, I had a vivid dream in December of 2019. And in this vivid dream, one of my friends, Tori Russell, was telling me that I needed to do more to let my children know that I loved them. And so I was married. I bore 4 children: Frenchaire 2, Sarai, Joseph Jr., and Melchizedek. Those are my 2 boys and my 2 girls. They're all teenagers. They're wonderful kids. I'm really proud of them.
Love
But
it.
due to circumstances, they got taken from me and my husband, now my ex-husband. And so they was in the foster care system for a long time, and then they finally got adopted by a family out of state. And it's actually a closed adoption. So with the closed adoption, you don't have contact with your kids, and it's really on the adoptive parent to decide whether with the biological parents going to have a communication or not. And so I've had, over the course of time, it's probably been, they've been adopted maybe about 10 years at this point. So I've had, sprinkles of communication, but my oldest son, he found me. He was determined. So my oldest son, Joseph Jr., he found me on the internet because I'm pretty social and pretty transparent with who I am as my brand. And so he found me on the internet and we've been in communication since. I'm so proud of him. That's my boy.
Incredible.
And so
Mhm.
I wrote this because of this dream. This dream was telling me, okay, because I wasn't talking to him. And so the dream was like, you got to do something to let your children know that you still love them, that you still care, you're still thinking about them. And so Shantae, literally the next day, I penned out the first edition of my children's book, Mommy and Daddy, Do You Still Love Me Anymore? And I wrote it down, unedited, never had written a book in my life. Um, but I wrote this children's book, as a love letter
Yeah.
to my 4 kids. And to out of just knowing who I am, I went ahead and published it the same day that I wrote it, Shante, on Amazon as an ebook.
You were on a
So
mission.
I was on a mission because
Yes.
if I hadn't have put it out, I wouldn't have never did it. Because it was like, no, like really, I wasn't even talking to people about my kids. Like it's such a pain. It's like it's such a sore spot in my
Yeah.
heart that I
Yes.
don't even really talk to very many. You got to be an intimate friend to
Mhm.
know back in the day that I had children.
Mhm.
So I put it out there as an ebook, and then the next maybe 2 years later, I I coordinated and collaborated with my girlfriend Dell Chambers, and she did my illustrations, and so we put out the book again, edited with illustrations. So, Mommy and Daddy, Do You Still Love Me Anymore? Second edition is available. So that's really my story in a nutshell. I done been through a lot. That's just some of the things I've been through: domestic violence, homelessness. I'm I'm overcoming bipolar depression. This last year and a half been tough on me. I've been like,
Mhm.
usually I have more manic episodes, which is kind of like the highs of the depression bipolar side. But as of late, it done flipped on me, and I've been having a lot of depression episodes. I
Mhm.
can't be motivated to do anything. It's really just I'm just grateful to be here talking to you right now,
I know
for
that's
real.
right. Come on now. So, I mean, I'm grateful that you are here sitting talking to me too, because I hear you already said it. This is just a little bit. There's so much more. And in the little bit I hear, I see the layers and the layers that began as a child. What you're saying and sharing, Frenchaire, I commend you already, thanking you for your transparency because you and I both know there are a number of women who go through and they don't talk about it for a lot of reasons. You begin with words that are common: shame, guilt. That's one of the reasons. Other
Yes.
reasons is no one's necessarily normalizing what they are experiencing. And on top of shame, on top of guilt, there's isolation, mental, emotional
Yes.
isolation, sometimes physical, because we feel like we're the only ones. And so
Mm-hmm.
I want to start by saying thank you for sharing the depths of your story, those experiences, because what I think is what I know is powerful is you had this inner knowing. You talked about the unfortunate, how it was definitely unfortunate how your children were taken away, and then you said you had that dream. How long of that was that time frame between your children taken away and this dream, and that led you
Mm.
to write a book? What was that time frame?
Good question. So had to been about 2009 my children were taken, and the dream didn't happen 10 to 10 years later, in 2019.
Mm, mm, mm. And so I'm asking this because when you talked about at that time, you weren't talking to anyone about your children. And
Right.
I just imagine, hence the title of the podcast, She Moves Bravely. I want to normalize that sometimes it takes time. And we know that we don't want to feel so paralyzed before we move on and take that next step. I also just want to highlight the importance of being open to the signs. You know, your sign
Yes.
came, 10 years in through a dream. Someone else's sign might come 1 week into whatever, they're experiencing, or 1 year in. And I just want
Yes.
individuals to know the importance of paying attention to the signs. And you
That's
paid
right.
attention. And you said the next day, you didn't waste any time. That next day,
Mm-mm.
you wrote the book. And you didn't stop there. You self-published the book on Amazon. That's a woman with a mission. That's somebody with mission in their heart.
Yes.
But what I also, what warms my heart, you said it was letters of love. Now, I use that terminology in the courses that I used to teach to women healing from trauma.
Mm.
Everyone that you want to touch might not be in your vicinity, in proximity. You might not be able to place a phone call, and have a conversation and meet for lunch. And sometimes, even if you could, it might not be wise, depending on the situation. And I love
Yes.
how you embraced the power of writing, the power of releasing. What was that experience like for you? Just writing that book, writing those love letters.
Scary. Scary, because what my family gonna think? I'm telling this story out how I lost my kids. What they gonna think? It was it was pressure, because I really just was like, how is the community gonna take this? I didn't know, and I was kind of fearful that they would shun me.
Yeah.
And so it was anxiety, but that dream pushed me. I was like, I got to do this.
You knew it.
I
Yeah.
gotta do it. Like, I believe in signs. So I was like, I had no choice but to do it, because I didn't know how to get in touch with them.
Yeah.
I had no way of getting in touch with my kids. So I was like, well, maybe, when they get older, they can
Mhm.
see mama was thinking about them.
Yes.
Mama was thinking about them tough.
Tough. Yes. Yes. And you said, which I absolutely admire and adore, you wanted your children, not just mama was thinking about you, but we love you. Like love, that's powerful. Love heals, love mends. I am hoping that individuals will grab a hold to the power of love in the midst of
Yes.
difficult situations that we don't understand. And a lot of times, not sure what step to take, what move to make, but we know we
Mm-hmm.
can't stay still. You knew you couldn't ignore the dream. You knew you had to move with it. And when love is the foundation, I believe that's what carries us. And you did not sugarcoat that there was anxiety and fear. I think sometimes when we hear moving bravely, I did a thing, we will admire someone because we think they had everything in order before they took that move.
Right,
I'm
right.
wondering, like, it's like after that dream, you didn't even have time to get anything in order. You were just saying,
Mm-mm.
this is what I need to do, and I'm going to do it no matter what. You did not let those voices stop you. What is the community going to think? We that's so normal, right? We go down that
Right.
list of the worst case scenario. What are they going to say? What are they going
Yes.
to think of my family, my community? Will I be ostracized? Like that's real talk. That's what people go through. And yet, oh, you had this strain to do it anyway.
Woo. Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't believe
Mm-hmm.
it. It was emotional. It was very emotional to relive, what we experienced.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of times I just repressed all of that.
Yep. Yep.
So it was definitely emotional. It was definitely an emotional time for real.
Mm. All right. So let's talk about that. Those emotions are strong. And again, I'm highlighting you as that woman because I want our listeners to know that when you feel the emotions, when it's difficult, that doesn't mean that you should necessarily stop.
That's right.
And right. And I don't know about you, Frenchaire, but that's what breaks my heart when I see individuals stop. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm there to empathize and to sympathize. And I'm like, yeah, it's tough.
Yes.
It's difficult. It is hard. The pain is real. But if we could push and take that next step, even if it's a crawl, right? Sometimes we can't step.
That's right.
You get
That's
some
right.
people ready to jump into the deep end. I'm ready for this leap of faith. But the reality is, everyone isn't ready for that leap of faith into the deep end.
Right.
I'm like, I don't know if I can even run. Nope. Can I walk? Nope. Okay. How about I crawl?
Just take one little inch forward.
Yeah.
It's about being resilient.
Mm-hmm.
I've definitely, that's one of my strong points. I'm like, what is that? Rolex, take a beat and keep on ticking. Who was that? It might be Timex.
But either way, you're going to keep going and going.
I'm gonna keep going because what I learned, this is what I learned from my sister. In her passing, in her dying in 2011, she was only 42 years old, Shantae. She had lupus.
Oh, sorry.
But what her life taught me was that, and this was 13 years ago at this point. But what her life taught me, Shantae, is that you really have to be focused on forward progress towards your purpose and your goals. You must have a purpose and a goal, both of them, because I really believe that all of us, before the foundations of this world was created, we were created with a purpose and people, specific people that we were supposed to touch and impact. That's what I believe.
I know that's right. Yes.
And so her life and how short it was, it let me know that life is fleeting and I don't got time to play. I can have fun, work hard, play hard, all that good jazz, but it's really about, being laser focused.
Yes, it
on getting to this purpose, because I got people to touch. It's not just about me. I done learned it's not just about me. And that's how I'm able, and beyond that, just been therapy, a lot of therapy, a lot of counseling has helped me to be the person I am, that's open and transparent about what I've gone through, knowing that it makes me stronger. I'm empowered that I can be able to say it. I'm not a victim anymore. I'm thriving.
Yeah.
In the sense that I've healed from the pains and the sufferings that I've endured.
And that's what I like about you, Frenchaire. You are breaking it down and helping individuals understand that we can choose to recover, to heal, to move forward. It's not about doing it on our own. You utilize the resources available. And we know, we've been around long enough to know people will choose what they decide to lean on as a tool or a resource. I had to have my source. My source was in my faith, in the word of God, through prayer. And that's what led me into this path where I could see the light at the end of the tunnel during my dark days. And I want to know, would love for you to share, as you talk about being empowered and resilient, how does that show up for you today, even in the midst of you working through other areas? And that's okay. I don't think we ever get to the point where we could just put a stamp on it in a period and say, all right, been through that, I'm done. Like, there's
Right.
going to be, speed bumps along the way. But what I love is your confidence, how you show up. I am resilient. I am empowered. And you thrive off of the words and the mindset of your sister. What does that look like in your life today? And how has that transpired?
I'm honestly having family drama. I'm like, this whole death of my father has brought out the worst in everybody. I was like, I thought this was just for y'all, not for me,
My
not for
goodness.
me and mine.
Yeah.
So, okay, that's one thing. I'm really trying to I got more than one book, right? So I'm trying to press these books, on the world, and get speaking engagements and trying to figure it out. But all the while I have ADHD pulling at me, I got depression and anxiety pulling at me, I got PTSD pulling at me. So all these things trying to weigh me down, and life, paying bills, all of
Mhm.
the jazz, the
Right.
adulting.
Yes.
So how it stands up to me for me, what I decided this year in 2024, I'm looking for it. I decided to start writing things down again. I had got away from writing things down. I got me a planner.
I love it.
I
Yes.
got me a planner this year
Yes.
so I can write things down. And
Excellent.
so I decided another thing also was I'm not going to try to keep doing the same thing, expecting the same results this year.
Well,
I'm not going to play crazy this year.
come on
I'm
now.
not playing no more playing crazy this year.
No more playing
I've been
crazy.
no, I'm stepping out. I didn't put myself out on different, I'm modeling now.
All right
I mean,
now.
I was modeling before, but like I've never modeled in Dallas, in my hometown. So I
Yes.
done put myself on different model calls.
Come
I'm
on.
taking business classes.
I love
I'm
it.
getting involved in the stuff that I love.
That's
I'm
right.
painting in classes. I'm been getting opportunities to podcast. I have my own podcast as
Right.
well. And so I'm getting opportunities to podcast live at events. So I'm putting myself out there because I've been sowing the seeds.
Ah,
And now it's time for the harvest to reap the
it's time
harvest.
for the harvest. Yes. And I see that as the fuel for your fire. That's what keeps you going. And when I think about all that you've shared today, again, from those childhood experiences of trauma, even the dream and so close to going to China and then having to change those plans, you were there for your
Mhm.
mom, a lot of adjustments that you've made in your life on some pretty
Yes.
major levels. And that shows your level of resilience indeed. And I see how you have navigated and moved bravely through various situations. As you describe your current day speed bumps, if you will,
Yeah.
there's a sense of confidence. You're gonna be all right. And I feel you
You
already
know,
know
hey,
that. You
yeah,
already know that. And
no.
I'm like, okay, I'm excited about your future, Frenchaire. I'm rooting for you. You're unstoppable. And I believe that women will hear your journey and your story, and they will experience their own levels of empowerment, knowing that in the midst of all of the drama, the family drama, the adulting, whatever comes our way along this journey of life, I'm hoping that individuals will remember that you can choose to change your mindset, to shift, to realign, to remember. And this is what I really love about what you were talking about, Frenchaire, is to remember that you are here. Mm. You are alive. You are breathing today because there's more to be fulfilled for your
Mhm.
purpose, for your calling. You are here for a reason. And
Mhm.
my prayer, my hope, and my desire is that we will not allow the pain to paralyze us.
Ashe. That's the
Yeah.
truth.
Mm. What would you say to that woman? Whatever's on your heart. I want to give you the opportunity to share.
I appreciate you, Shantae. I just want to say to you, ladies and women who are listening to the show today, I want to encourage you. I want to encourage you and to let you know that I feel your pain. I've been there. And it's okay to cry. It's okay to shout. It's okay to talk about it. What is not okay is to be quiet.
Mm.
That's what I done learned is that there's healing in talking about what you're going through. It's hard, it's painful, but there's healing in it. I'm also gonna say to and I'm getting tears in my eyes just just thinking about this because this means a lot to me. Um I will say to get you a counselor or you a therapist or both. You know, it's really something in the power of getting a professional for you to be able to vent to, and to talk about coping and different things that you might need in regards to your specific situations. So I think that's needed. Another thing I would suggest is to uh, pick up the practice, if you are not already doing this, pick up the practices of meditation, of taking the time to still your mind. I'm not always good at doing it as I like to, but I try to in the mornings. That's the best time to do it before you get started with your day, is to take a time to just still your mind and be quiet and listen. And always know that whenever that first mind and that first voice is talking to you, if you believe in God, that's God. If you don't believe in God, that's your ancestors. All right, that's spirit. That's the universe talking to you. It's the realest thing that you can ever have. So meditation, practice meditation. Also pick up the practice of journaling. Journaling is such a great practice in which you can just, whatever it is on your mind, just, write it down. Because things get to, as women, we hold things. We hold, and especially as Black women, we hold things. We are always having to present ourselves as a strong person. We don't always have to be the strong person all the time. Sister, you don't have to always be the strong person. Call out and reach out to your friends and your family, whoever's supporting you, and let them know that you're not feeling so brave today, or you need some help, or can you watch the kids today? I'm gonna take a day to myself and go get my nails done and a spa day and a massage. You need that, sisters. You need that day of, if it's just a day, if you can only just carve out a day or 6 hours of the day, do it. It's needed. It's needed, because how can you pour from an empty vessel? You can't pour. You can't give of yourself if you don't have nothing to give. You have to have not only into yourself, you have to have people pouring into yourself. Remember, there's leeches out there, y'all. There's leeches out there who will like vultures, spirit vultures, energy vultures.
Yeah.
They will attack them and attach themselves on you, and you will be drained. When you got a person that you feel so drained and you tired, you don't need them around.
Right.
You don't need them around, because they're taking from you and not giving back. And you want to have reciprocal relationships. That's all I got. But
Look, that's
really just, I'm just so grateful for you today.
Grateful for you too. Those were powerful parting words. My. So let those golden nuggets resonate with you all to talk about it. Don't keep it in. Release. Identify who you can connect with: a therapist, a counselor, a mentor, a coach, a pastor, someone who is seasoned and equipped to walk you through that process. Because the truth is, a lot of people desire to overcome and heal, but they don't know how. They don't know where to start. So connect with someone who
Right.
can help you and walk with you on that journey. The meditation, the prayer, quieting your mind, quieting those negative voices, and just sitting in that space of solitude and peace, and opening up your heart and your mind to hear for direction. I love that. I love it so much. And yes, I said it. I think I said it already. The journaling. I've been journaling since I was 8. I wholeheartedly agree.
Yes.
Journaling, that's such a powerful way to release what you're feeling. And I always tell people it does not have to be that perfect. What do we call it? Learning in school, the hamburger paragraph. I'm like, jot down fragmented sentences, misspelled words, bullet points, whatever it looks like. Just get it out of your brain, out of your head. Here's that final tip, which I absolutely love and agree with: unsubscribing. It was a few years ago that word hit me hard, because I realized that not only are we subscribed to various email distribution lists, services and products, and we need to unsubscribe. We don't need those services or products anymore. We're not in that season. We also need to unsubscribe from people, places, and things that do not mean us well. Take inventory of who, what, all the things that are going against the flow. Maybe it's time, as Frenchaire said, the leeches, it's time to separate from what's drawing that energy from you and leaving you depleted. Wow, Frenchaire, you have shared amazing information, your journey, the golden nuggets, and I appreciate you. How can individuals either get in touch with you, purchase your book?
I'm very social. You can Google me, Frenchaire Gardner, Frenchaire, Gardner, Gardner. I'm on my website. You can chat with me on my website, and you can buy my books and my art and tap into the podcast. It's Frenchaire.com, Frenchaire.com. And Instagram, I have two pages. It's Frenchaire_Gardner, and also my business page is PR Frenchaire, like public relations, PR Frenchaire. On Facebook, if you want to connect with me on my personal side, it's Latrice Gardner. On the business side, it's also Frenchaire Gardner, and I have a arts page called Frenchies Wonders, FRENCHY' Wonders. If you want to connect with the artsy side of me, um, tune in to the podcast. Tap into the
Yeah.
podcast. A news you can use podcast. If you want to watch the videos, watch it on Spotify, anywhere, and it's also streaming everywhere else you listen to your podcast: Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts. Follow us, subscribe, do all the things. I'm on TikTok at Frenchaire, Frenchaire. Also Clubhouse at Frenchaire Gardner. And lastly, I guess pin with me. I'm on Pinterest at Frenchies Wonders as well.
All right. Well, we will definitely include those details in our show notes. We want to make sure that everyone is able to get in touch with you on the various platforms they use. Well, there you have it, everyone. Frenchaire Gardner, thank you for being with us today. Thank you for showing up and showing others how they too can move bravely.
Thank you so much for having me, Shantae. I appreciate you.